Denmark, we are a small country. We are 6 million people. But when we partner up, we can scale, we can make changes, we can improve the world. And here today, we have Ulrik, flown in just an hour ago from Denmark, Scandinavia. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for Kvasir Technologies. Kasper Fröhlich, Vice President for COWI, a global engineering and consultancy firm that's also a leader within sustainable, resilient energy infrastructure. Last but not least, David Han-Dizon. He is the founder and principal of an LA-based investment fund, and also today representing KiteX. So, Kvasir Technologies are producing advanced biofuels from wood or waste at cost parity to traditional oil and gas. And how do you achieve this? What's the secret? What's the inventive step that allows you to do this?
Thank you very much for being here. So what we have is quite an amazing technology. It's a complete new process where we are able to convert any type of biomass. It's the lignocellulose, the lignin fractions of a biomass fraction that we can fairly simple, relatively low cost compared to any other things, produce this bio-crude, this bio-oil that is basically reinventing oil. It can be replacing fossil conventional oil, or it can be supplemented if more oil is needed, you could say. So this is a true game changer for the future of actually enabling these biomass waste residues, whatever might be left of straws or whatever that is not of use. We can convert these fairly fast and swift and with a low cost, as Thomas is saying, at cost parity, production cost here with fossil crude.
So a great way to prevent rising sea levels, he's making it happen. And over to KiteX, so wind turbines, you have a big gearbox and tower that has a lot of steel, concrete foundation. So KiteX has a new solution that reduces the weight by 90%. So basically it's just wings and a generator. And the IP are very strong ropes that keeps it all in place. And David, how can KiteX help island nations reduce dependency on diesel and provide more resilience?
Well, first of all, thank you for letting me be here today. I think it's really interesting when people think of wind, they think of, well, if I were to make an analogy, of a big helicopter, heavy, big maintenance cost, and a little too much in terms of, or overkill in terms of installations when it comes to island nations. So KiteX wants to turn that model upside down and look at it more like a drone as a comparison. Light, precise, and targeted, especially small communities. What the interesting thing about KiteX is the founder is a kite surfer, hence the name. So he's using concepts of the wind in a different way than what's been seen today, which has led to a new setup of the wind turbine. So it's only 15 meters tall. So for the Americans here, that's 49 feet, and the rotor diameter is 11 meters, so 36 feet. So fairly small systems. And when we talk about small-scale farmers and residential households, they're not interested in these large utility-scale systems. And it's just a shame to only have to opt in for solar. Solar peak has a peak during the day, the midday, whereas a combination of oils, we can look at KiteX as the missing sibling to solar. So KiteX wants to go into areas where people really have a hard time with paying high energy costs, and we want to make accessible to communities around the world to invest in wind and reduce cost immensely, especially because of material innovation. So what Thomas said about the tension wires, it's made out of something called Dyneema. It's used in sailing, in military equipment as well, but it's not been seen in the wind industry so much because of heavy steel construction. So we use glass fiber and are able to have the total mass of the system down to 350 kilograms. That's the weight of a piano. So quite different in terms of transportation. No need for concrete, no need for cranes or anything like that, and can be set up in one day with a couple people.
So climate change is a challenge, and that's why we need innovations like this. And Kasper, from your perspective, what 1 or 2 solutions do you see or working on that can help islands maintain resiliency in their energy infrastructure?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. And by the way, happy birthday as well, Thomas. So, working at COWI, an international engineering and consultancy house, I'm quite fortunate to see quite a lot of different technologies and solutions when we're doing technical due diligences or third-party assessments, and bankability, as we talked about before, is key. We are providing a lot of those solutions. At the moment, we are working in Barbados, where we are designing a waste to energy. We've talked a lot about waste today, also earlier this morning, where we are taking all the waste from the cruise ships coming in and then convert that into renewable energy, which is a really plus for the whole island, for the whole society. So that's one solution. There could be many other ones, and that is based on Denmark again, as we talked about into the introduction. We have Denmark is a small country. There's also some islands there, so we have learned, and we have islands in Denmark that are 100% powered by renewable energy. And that is what we are kind of taking as a lesson learned and exporting that knowledge and also solution, as you can hear from my fellows here, outside in the world.
Thank you, Kasper. So being at EarthX, Ulrik, can you, because Mr. Rogers, you mentioned before, air fuels, how do we solve that? And Ulrik, how can you take trees and make them into air fuels, marine fuels, diesel? How does the magic happen?
Well, it's actually kind of simple. So it's a bio-crude, a crude like a fossil crude coming up from the ground. Depending on what applications you apply, you could have a refinery, different hydrotreating elements, distillation towers, etc. You basically choose what fractions you would like to get out. You can have a renewable diesel, you could put for maritime, you could have sustainable aviation fuel as well. So that's some of the applications that we see. That's some of the ones for maritime, for SAF, aviation. It's the simple ones because of global governance and regulatory schemes that are now with IMO, just recently actually in process of getting a scheme in place. US is not a part of it, let's see, but the rest is, which is fantastic because it basically encourages, incentivizes for the maritime sectors, which is a very hard to abate one for decarbonizing, or defossilizing as we like to call it. We like the carbon, it needs to be sustainable, right? So we have this ability to really being able to reinvent the oil, as mentioned before. It's a replacement of basically the fossil component. It needs to be sourced sustainably. That's basically what we're bringing here. So it's quite easy to get excited with what we are able to bring here.
And another topic on the UN agenda is climate fairness, right? How do we create equality in this? And Ulrik, sorry for getting back to you, but what do you see as the shortest path? Because one thing is the solution, another thing is the economics. And Kvasir is providing this fuel at cost parity to oil and gas. So that's what's needed to make it scalable, right? And he's already on a vertical growth journey. So what do you see as the shortest path to prevent rising sea level? Is that ocean shipping, or is it air fuels, or is it the diesel? What do you see?
Well, it's all of the above, for sure. I think every button needs to be pushed. There's no doubt about it. All solutions are welcome, whether it's the e-fuel space or whatever it might be, is all necessary. There's no one winner. It's all good to be applied and have a good position to basically create this together. The more the merrier. Let's get more technical solutions in place, more R&D, more funding in that space for sure. It's the strong backbone of Kvasir Technologies for sure. It's a spin out of Danish Technical University with a lot of different companies attached as well. It's really the brain that makes the difference here. So, yeah.
Thank you. And so when you have an economy on an island, right, you can be dependent on importing diesel. So to that, David, how can KiteX help islands become more resilient?
Well, I think one interesting fact when you look at wind turbines, as I mentioned before, is that it's often viewed as a high-cost CapEx investment. And so if we can change the mind of people to want a combination of solar and wind, because I think many of us who've visited a lot of these islands and nations have seen a lot of solar on every rooftop driving through the cities and the rural areas. But wind has not reached a point where small-scale farmers or residents, residential households would be willing to opt in simply because of cost. So with a lower cost entry point and different financing models, we want to make it available to both small-scale farmers and households with a lot of different financial possibilities for setup. And for those of you who are interested in seeing the actual visual of this wind turbine, you can come catch me afterwards. I'll show you.
Thank you. And Kasper, working with energy infrastructure, what are you most excited about? Is it solar? Is it waste to power? Or is it biogas? What makes you excited for technologies that can improve the world?
It's definitely not just one thing. It's a hybrid solution depending on the country or the area or whatever resources you have available. But I want to say, besides the more technical thing or component, this is also something that is promoting livelihood development, which is also important. We are working a lot in developing countries that are funded by donor money from the World Bank or other places. And that component is just so important for us. So I would say the excitement is actually personally that it's very different projects for me. It can be carbon capture one day, microgrid the other day, but linking all things together. I know there's one guy here in the room that's also talking about the ecosystem, the systemic solutions, where you are kind of seeing this as an industrial symbiosis. If you can do that, you will tick up a lot of the boxes and gain a lot of opportunities. But of course, you need to agree on the framework, and that's sometimes the challenges in what we are seeing.
So you're saying the solutions are there, but there's no one fit for all, and that's why we are using advanced biofuels, wind, other solutions.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And we need all of them, as Ulrik is also mentioning. We need the innovative solutions. We need to learn. We need to partner up, that we have also talked about earlier today. That's just key, and we need to kind of recognize that the climate changes are there, and we need to do something. It's our obligation.
And as you just mentioned before, it's also determination. So clearly there's enough of ideas to solve these problems, right? Because in the end, it's for our children. It's for the world. That's what EarthX is about, connecting ideas with government leaders and solutions. And to that, Ulrik, what do you see necessary to make this happen? Is it government policy, and what would be needed, for example, for Kvasir to scale your solution?
So specifically for our company, we're still a young entrepreneurial company, right? We are having our pilot facilities. We are constructing a demo plant. We're getting to the first commercial plant, targeting FID investment decision in 18 months' time. So it's a very vital part of what we are trying to achieve, that we raise the capital to take the technology risk that is, of course, inherent when it's a new technology, right? And then you could say this is a 100x opportunity, really. This is a scaling adventure. We see ourselves, when we make this happen, basically become a green oil major. That's really the perspective we see here, right? So this is the route for us. Of course, it's the underlying, I mentioned earlier, IMO with maritime regulatory schemes, compliance, the voluntary schemes. It's the foundation for actually wanting those very large companies to really make a change and start using some of the greener fuels. Some of them are a lot pricier. I know we are very fortunate in our situation here, right? But some of them are multiple of fossil crude, etc. So it takes some extra, you could say, hardship to really make that happen. And there are some that really makes this happen as well. I'm not going to name any Danish ones, but there are some ones in that space for sure that really wants to make this happen. So they are stepping ahead. They are first movers here, and that's what really creating it. I think just sort of the personal note here in respect of Denmark, a lot of good comments also before when listening. We are a super tiny nation, right? We're super small. We're not that many people. But it's about wanting to do it. It's exactly the willingness to really stretch and make it happen, right? It's not about size. It's about really wanting to make it happen. So,
Thank you. So with that, we'll all stick around and be happy to chat and talk about how we can support the vision of EarthX. And thank you so much for coming. And I mean, Ulrik, he just landed in Dallas an hour ago from closing a deal or something. Congratulations
thank you.
on that. And last, Matt, thank you so much for your incredible work here at the Island Resilience Summit. And thank you for having us.